This movie is about two tribes in a village. There are two distinct groups of people, the Alos and the Viras. They find themselves deeply divided over a debate among their school students about the origins of their tribes. The reason for this division was from the debate of superiority amongst the two tribes, and the question is who came first, the Alo or the Vira. In a flashback scene, we're transported to a public gathering. The first student, a young boy representing the Alo tribe, confidently argues that the Alo came before the Vira. He emphasizes the significance of the Alos, stating that without them, the Viras would be rendered useless. This statement greatly irritates the opposing debater from the Vira tribe. She counters by revealing a fascinating perspective. The Vira is like a nurturing bird that hatched and nurtured the Alo, shaping it into what it is today. She asserts that only individuals lacking intelligence, like her debater counterpart from the Alo tribe, would dare to think otherwise. Infuriated, the Alo debater dismissively refers to the Vira debater as senseless. This sparks a heated exchange of words between the families of both tribes. Consequently, this single debate becomes the catalyst for long-standing strife and division among the villagers from these two distinct groups. The village becomes deeply divided, the fracas causing a sharp rift. Two distinct groups emerge, each passionately advocating for their beliefs. Those who assert that Alo comes first are named Alo, embracing the color blue as their symbol and way of life. On the other hand, those who proclaim that Vira takes precedence are called Vira, embracing the color yellow as their emblem and lifestyle. These tribes are easily distinguishable by their distinctive colors. From their painted houses to their attire, blue and yellow dominate their existence. A clear border is established, forbidding any crossing between the two factions. They coexist side by side, but with a profound disdain for one another. This divisive pattern perpetuates from one generation to the next, with the gospel of hate being indoctrinated and preached by each community. Children grow up being warned against interacting or associating with the opposing side, and intermarriage is strictly forbidden. One day, the children from the Alo side are playing football and the ball accidentally goes into the Vira territory. This makes the Alo people angry because they see it as an intrusion. They protest loudly to show their discontent. The leaders from both sides gather to find a solution, and they decide to settle the issue with a wrestling contest between the Alos and the Viras. Each team chooses their strongest fighter to represent them. The two young men from these different tribes face off in a wrestling match. Sadly, the Alos, represented by the blue team, defeat the Viras, represented by the yellow team. As a consequence, the young man from the Vira tribe is taken as a slave and is no longer considered part of the Vira group. However, something significant happened on that day. This event will have a lasting impact on the relationship between these two enemy tribes, changing it in the years to come. On that day, a boy from Alo first notices a girl from Vira. He can't stop staring despite knowing it's a taboo to hold any form of affection from the rival camp. There's something captivating about her, and for a moment all the activities, the buzzing from the opponent, and the cheering doesn't matter anymore. Then she turns and looks at him, having the most delicate smile. At this moment he knows she feels the same thing he's feeling. As she smiles back at him, her teeth the most beautiful set he has ever seen. The event soon comes to an end. Whatever the outcome is of no bother to him. All that matters is to see this girl again. He sleeps all through the night hoping and longing to see her face again, for her to bless him with her bright smile. Verilyn is a young and beautiful lady from the Vira tribe. Since she was a child, she has been told to stay away from the Alos, their neighboring tribe, as they are considered to be mean and harmful. But yesterday, something extraordinary happened. Verilyn was fascinated by the smile of a young man from the Alos tribe. His smile was calm and welcoming. It caught her attention. This morning, she opened her window, and she saw him standing there, looking at her through his apartment window. Their tribes have created a separation between them, but their eyes meet, defying the barriers. She stays a bit longer until her mother calls her, wondering why she's taking so much time to close the window. Verilyn's mind is a burden. To clear her mind, she goes to her mother, who is getting ready for the day and wants to talk things through. She asks her mom about the ideas they've been taught, that the Alos are mean and untrustworthy. Her mom is surprised to hear this but stays calm and repeats what she's heard many times about the Alos. Her mom insists that they are mean and heartless, so she should stay away from them. According to her mom, there's nothing good about them. Alowan, a young man from the Alo tribe, finds himself smitten at first sight. Verilyn has captured his heart. He can't seem to think of anything else. The beautiful dark-skinned beauty of the Vira tribe has him questioning all he has heard about her people. Despite his inclination to distance himself from the people on the other side, he can't recall a single instance of them causing him harm. He knows he must speak to his father about this. Approaching his father, Alowan inquires whether the rumors he's heard about the Vira tribe hold any truth. His father's face scrunches with concern as he confirms that, indeed, the Vira tribe is regarded as the most undesirable group to associate with. He sternly warns Alowan to refrain from getting involved with any of them. In this scene, Verilyn wants her father's attention after he catches her peeping at Alowan from the Alo tribe through her window. She goes to her dad to ask if it's okay to talk to someone from the Alo community, even if it's from a distance without crossing any borders. Her father tells her it's wrong to talk to them or even be near them. Her father asks her to stop asking questions and leave him alone. Among the two tribes residing side by side, a strict prohibition exists against anything, be it living or non-living, crossing into each other's territory. Such occurrences inevitably lead to crises. A wrestling challenge. This is signaled by a community member who blows a plastic whistle, a mandatory possession for all tribe members to alert others. On this particular day, Verilyn is in her room, unaware that her puppy has ventured into the designated aloe territory. Her heart skips a beat as she realizes the gravity of animals crossing into the neighboring space. Hastily, she rushes to the boundary of the aloe tribe, where she discovers Alowan carrying her pet puppy under his arm. Alowan begins to retrieve his whistle, which is tied to a long rope and hangs in his neck, intending to alert his tribe to the breach, but Verilyn immediately intervenes, pleading for mercy. Moved by her plea, Alowan reconsiders, discarding the whistle and crushing it under his feet, symbolizing his offering her a hand to friendship. He then graciously returns the puppy to Verilyn, who expresses her gratitude by crushing her whistle beneath her feet. Alowan compliments the color of Verilyn's puppy's attire. However, she immediately chastises him, reminding him that admiring their tribe's unique colors is strictly forbidden. While engrossed in their conversation, Alome, his older sister, observes the surprising exchange between the two and promptly calls on Alowan, which ends the conversation between the two. Alome reports her findings to the family, who do not take it lightly. His father becomes sad and disappointed upon hearing that Alowan has crushed his whistle because of a girl from the Vera community. His father goes as far as threatening to lock him up. However, their determination to know each other persists, despite the growing animosity between the two tribes. Since their windows directly face each other, they devise a method of communication. They write messages on pieces of paper, transforming them into paper kites, and send them through the windows. One day, Alowan's father almost catches him red-handed. He enters his room unannounced, but Vera acts swiftly and closes her window before Alowan's father can notice anything amiss. To Alowan's surprise, his father visits him to deliver unexpected news. He has decided to buy him a new whistle. Observing Alowan's increasing enthusiasm and happiness, his father calls upon his daughter, Alome, to keep an eye on her brother. Alome is currently on an undercover mission to find out what's going on with her brother, as suggested by her father. She sneaks and stands by Alowan's window to eavesdrop on his conversation with his uncle, Alodan. In his room, Alowan commends Alowan on how good his students are. His uncle had revealed that he isn't good at math, and the school where he teaches is low on teachers and cannot afford to hire a new math teacher. Alowan volunteers to teach the students math for free as a form of community service. Alodan is impressed by this. Alowan sees this as an opportunity to bare his mind. It is a burden in his heart to admit to anyone from his tribe how he feels. He fears he has committed a big taboo by talking to and even falling in love with a lady from the Vera tribe. He asks Alodan if he can trust him with his secret, which Alodan affirms. Alowan reveals he's in love, but Alodan finds it rather strange and asks him if he isn't too young at just 24 years to get into matters of the heart. That isn't the main problem. He is aghast when Alodan reveals not only is he in love, but he's in love with someone from the Vera tribe. Alowan's uncle is utterly bewildered by what he has just heard. Despite his extensive efforts to preach against any form of intermingling between their community and the Vera people, his nephew now stands before him, confessing his love for those who are considered forbidden. He advises his nephew to regain his senses and let go of this forbidden love. Nonetheless, he assures him that he will keep their conversation strictly confidential, recognizing that the revelation would stir up immense tension among their people and bring scandal to their families. Unbeknownst to them all, Alowan's sister, Alome, eavesdrops on their conversation. Overwhelmed by what she hears, she promptly rushes to her parents to divulge the revelation. She sees her parents together discussing, and she tells them she has information to relay. She informs them that their son, her brother, is in love. Her parents are happy to hear this because Alowan has never seemed to be interested in ladies. Being aware that there's someone who has made him fall in love gladdens the dad's heart. Alome is surprised at how happy her dad is by this news. She asks her dad if he doesn't think her brother is too young to engage in matters of love. Her dad shuts her up, telling her that Alowan is 24 years old, and he got married at the age of 23, so he is at the right age for marriage. They both inquire to know whose daughter it is from the community with whom he's in love. Unfortunately, Alome did not get to hear the name of the lady whom her brother is in love with. She tells them she's going to find out. Alome was in a hurry to share the news that she didn't wait back to get the full story. Meanwhile, Alowan's dad tells the mom he suspects that he may be in love with Alobem's daughter, Alo Maria. Alome goes back to continue eavesdropping but doesn't seem to hear them anymore. She enters her brother's room and asks him who he's in love with. The two men are taken aback by this question. She smiles as she tells them she has been outside listening to them. Alodan advises his nephew to keep these things to himself and to go ahead and pursue Alomatia, a pretty girl in the village. He goes ahead to confront his dad for asking his sister to spy on him, to which his dad tells him he had no hand in it. The next day, Alowan is returning to his house when Alomeria accosts him. She tries to begin a conversation, to which he tells her he isn't interested in her and that them potentially getting engaged is a mere lie. Over at the Verilyn residence, Verilyn is deep in thought. She daydreams a lot about Alowan and their potential life together. A warm feeling engulfs her whenever he comes to mind. Her mom enters her room and is surprised to see her untouched food. She asks Verilyn why she hasn't eaten, and Verilyn responds by telling her mom that she thinks she's in love. Verilyn's mom is excited by this revelation and asks whom she's in love with. Verilyn reveals that she is in love with a young man from the Aloe tribe. Her mom is shocked by this and tells her never to reveal it to anyone. She is disappointed that her daughter could go against everything she has been taught and form a relationship with someone outside their tribe. Alowan and Verilyn are a young couple deeply in love. Unfortunately, their families belong to rival tribes, resulting in ongoing conflicts. Heartbroken by their parents' rejection of their relationship, the two lovers devise a unique way to communicate, through singing. One day, Verilyn opens her window and begins singing, her voice reaching the ears of both tribes. Her heartfelt songs express the social injustices, strife, and animosity prevailing between their communities. Upon hearing Verilyn's melodic song, Alowan courageously joins in. However, their singing is met with disapproval from those around them, who quickly reports them to their parents. Verilyn's father confronts her concerning the rumors he's heard but just tells him she is singing before he joins her. Her dad is furious because his family is at the center of such controversy. He gives her a stern warning to desist from such behavior. But Verilyn's heart is sold out to Alowan, and when he asks for them to meet at the greens where there is no boundary between them, she accepts. They both sneak out of their houses to meet in the forest where they sit in an abandoned vehicle, immersing themselves in the freedom of being together without the constraints of the rules. Whining together, Alowan tells her he doesn't necessarily like her people as they are rowdy, but she is different, which is why his eye caught her. He thanks her for coming, and in response, Verilyn shares the same sentiment, acknowledging the fact that the Aloes are not good people, but he's also different, which is why her heart caught him. The young couple is happy to be together. Alowan reveals to her that his father is suspicious of his activities and has placed him on strict watch. They both talk into the night where they become intimate. They are not aware that their relatives from their respective communities have begun to search for them, fearing the worst. At the village, Alowan's uncle, and two other relatives desperately search and call for him. The two men go to search for him in other areas. Just then, Alowan stumbles upon both Alowan and Verilyn together, coming back from the forest where they have spent the whole day. Alowan, not wanting to escalate the issue on the ground, knowing Verilyn's relatives are also searching for her, asks both of them to go hide in his room until the matter dies down a little. Verilyn sneaks back to her room later that night. The next morning, she and Alowan continue to exchange letters, expressing their feelings for each other through a letter kite. They promise to see each other in the forest later that night. Unknown to Verilyn, her father is aware that she came back late last night. He enters her room while she is trying to hide the letters she has received from Alowan. She is not fast enough. Her father asks where she was last night. She tells him she is bored and decides to take a walk to the forest. Just then, her father sees the letters she is receiving from the young man from the perceived enemy camp. He opens her window and sees Alowan. Immediately, he blows his whistle, signaling the whole community about the intrusion of an Aloe in their Vera camp. This calls for a fight between the two communities. As is the custom, each tribe selects a representative for a wrestling match. The tribe that loses not only suffers defeat but also has to give up their fight to the winning tribe. In this particular case, the Aloe tribe and the Vera tribe both choose young men to compete. Sadly, the Aloe fighter is defeated by the Vera contestant, meaning that the Aloe tribe has not only lost the match but also their fighter. Devastated by this unfortunate turn of events, Verilyn and Alowan, unable to bear the sorrow and shame, retreat to their rooms and shut themselves away. After the wrestling match, Alowan's father, who is also an elder in the community, gathers the young members together. He acknowledges that he is aware of his son's behavior and assures everyone that he will address the issue. He firmly reiterates that the rules prohibiting any interaction between the Veras and the Aloes still apply and must be adhered to. Fueled by lingering anger, he proceeds to his room, sealing the window tightly, and instructing his son to desist from all communication with Verilyn. After the incident and the ensuing scandal, Alowan finds himself heartbroken. He strongly believes that the girl he loves betrayed him, orchestrating a situation where he and his tribe were ridiculed by her father. Desperate to convey his true feelings, Alowan attempts to write letters multiple times, only to discard them each time. Consumed by sadness, he retreats from all social activities, causing deep concern for his mother. She senses her son spiraling into depression but feels powerless to help him. Meanwhile, Verilyn is also deeply saddened by Alowan cutting off all communication. She understands his anger, knowing that her father played a role in exposing him to his community. Despite her relentless efforts to reach out through letters, she receives no response. Eventually, she resorts to discreetly placing the letters near his window, no longer caring about the potential consequences if someone discovers them. Fortunately, Alowan's mother stumbles upon the scattered letters surrounding his window. Hoping that reading them might uplift her son's spirits, she brings the letters to him. To her dismay, however, he rejects the letters. 3 months later, activities between the two different communities go back to how they used to be. The rivalry and hatred between the two communities continue. The elders still instill and indoctrinate their kids against having any dealings with members of the opposite communities. But things haven't returned to normal for either Alowan or Verilyn. Alowan is still restricted indoors, feeling heartbroken, and refusing to mingle with even the members of his own family. On the other hand, Verilyn doesn't observe that Alowan wants absolutely nothing to do with her. She decides to keep herself busy by immersing herself in her songwriting. However, she begins to feel sick, nauseous, and weak. Soon, she realizes she is pregnant. Her mother invites other community members to question her on who the father of the child is. They are eager to know the identity of the father, but unfortunately, Verilyn tells them a non-Vera man is responsible. Everyone is shocked to hear this. Everyone is disappointed in Vera for breaking the sacred community rule. Meanwhile, Alome, Alowan's elder sister, having gone through the letters Verilyn has sent, sees it as important for her brother to read them. She goes to his room with the stack of written letters and convinces her brother to try and read them, at least to hear Verilyn's perspective. Alowan agrees to read them. As he goes through the letter, he realizes he overreacted by thinking Verilyn truly sets him up for ridicule. As he reads more, he realizes she claims to be sick and may be pregnant. He decides to respond to her quickly with words of assurance and standing by her. 6 months pass and Verilyn's father, who feels ashamed over his daughter's affair with an outsider, seeks to redeem his image. He promises a young man from their tribe money if he will marry Verilyn and claim the baby, to which the young man agrees. Verilyn hears Alowan singing once again, filling her with happiness as their shared love for singing serves as a means of communication. When her father introduces a young man as a potential husband, Verilyn firmly rejects him, hoping that Alowan will engage in a meaningful conversation with her. Upon learning of his daughter's refusal, her father feels an urgent need to take action. Some days ago, he had come across a letter Alowan had written, assuring Verilyn of his unwavering support in any circumstances. In a drastic turn of events, Verilyn's father decides to sever their friendship. Deceptively, he fabricates a letter, assuming Verilyn's identity, to mislead Alowan. The letter claims that Verilyn has married someone from her tribe and encourages Alowan to move on, dismissing the supposed pregnancy as a false alarm. Furthermore, he crafts another forged letter, this time impersonating Alowan, urging Verilyn to move forward with her life. To further distance themselves from each other, he decides to take Verilyn to a midwife who stays far away so she can have her baby. On the day she is to leave, she stumbles upon the letters Alowan has sent and the last one allegedly sent by him. She notices the handwriting discrepancy for the first time and decides to write to him one more time and ask if he truly sent her the last letter. She confronts her father over the letter. In the Aloe community, Alowan receives her letter and is in dismay. He decides to damn all consequences and goes over to her house. As he enters, he meets Verilyn and her father. Verilyn's father, upon seeing him, blows the whistle to announce the intrusion of Alowan as an intruder. As the community gathers, they hold him under arrest for intrusion. At that same moment, the Aloe community also apprehends a member of the Vera tribe who has snuck into their community to play with their people. The customary wrestling match occurs when either party trespasses into the other's territory, and each tribe must nominate a volunteer to fight on behalf of their respective tribe. Suddenly, Alowan steps forward as a volunteer, offering to wrestle. Witnessing this, Verilyn also emerges, challenging Alowan. However, their proposal faces strong opposition as they all realize Verilyn's advanced pregnancy. Reluctantly, no one from either side agrees to engage in the fight. In a moment of tension, Verilyn's father declares that despite her being impregnated by an Aloe, their child will bear the Vera heritage. This declaration sparks disagreement from the Aloe community, who claim the baby as their own. Despite the conflict, they all disperse with the promise to reconvene after Verilyn gives birth. Unbeknownst to everyone, Verilyn is already experiencing active labor. Once the commotion settles, Alowan escorts her to a midwife within her community, where she successfully delivers a healthy baby girl. Recognizing that the child represents the union of both Vera and Aloe bloodlines, they decide to name her Aloe Vera, symbolizing the potential for unity between their tribes. As anticipated, both tribes choose to embrace peace and allow love to triumph. They reach a consensus on unity, understanding that love has emerged victorious in the end. Because of the birth of this mixed tribe baby, the two tribes decide to embrace leave once and for all.